Right, members, we've got a quorum already, so I think we can start. Agenda item number 1. Information papers issued since the last meeting. 2 papers have been issued since the last meeting. Members, please refer to the agenda. Date of next meeting and items for discussion. Item 2 on the agenda. Our next regular meeting will be held on the 12th of January, Monday, at 2:30 p.m. in Conference Room 3. The administration has proposed 2 items for discussion. Review on regulation of P2P telemarketing calls. That's item 1 on the list of outstanding items for discussion. And then the administration has proposed that we should also discuss item 11, update on the work of Create Hong Kong. All right, so we'll discuss these 2 matters next time. Agenda item number 3, new government data center complex. So please invite the administration in. So may I welcome our officials. I believe members know the officials very well, and so I don't think I need to introduce the officials to members. Right? I think there will be a PowerPoint presentation for us, right? Thank you, Chairman. Members of the public can at any time make use of the Internet to access government e-service. We need to provide convenient and reliable e-government service to the public, and so government departments and bureaus have an increasing need for data centers. At the moment, there are 25 data centers, government data centers built at different times, and they are operated by 15 different bureaus and departments. The total floor area is about 16,500 square meters. And some bureaus and departments make use of outsourced services, and the total number of such racks is about 420. As I have said just now, there is an increasing demand for e-government services, and so government departments and bureaus have an increasing demand for government data centers. At the moment, we have 25 government data centers. 65% of them have been in operation for many years. The legacy design cannot meet the advancement in technology, and the facilities in these centers are aging and the maintenance costs are high. And about 80% of the existing data centers, in terms of space, cooling capacity, and electrical power, have reached their maximum capacity. But then most of these data centers are in existing office buildings. And there are lots of constraints, insufficient headroom, no additional space for new facilities to enhance electrical power and cooling capacity. So to modernize these existing data centers is a difficult task. So this is the problem we are facing. Government data center services cannot meet the long-term development of e-government services. To resolve this problem, the OGIO in 2012 completed a consultancy study. The report proposes that a government data center complex be built. An integrated approach is proposed, and so the idea is to host government IT services in a holistic manner. Existing government data centers with relocation needs will be replaced, including those affected by the relocation of the 3 government office buildings at the Wan Chai waterfront. Next, we need to accommodate the data center services for bureaus and departments which need to switch their IT operations from outsourced data centers to government data centers. And then we need to enhance data center capacities in addressing the needs arising from the implementation of new e-government services. So 9 bureaus and departments will be making use of this complex, including the OGO, the LCSD, the CNS department, and also the office, also the treasury. So these are the 4 existing government data centers, and then there are 5 bureaus and departments which need new data center services. So we will try to strike a balance between cost effectiveness and also the effectiveness of relocation. If departments and bureaus need to relocate their data centers, or if their existing data centers can't meet their service demands, then departments should first consider moving into the complex. We understand that for certain departments or bureaus, because of their statutory operational or business requirements, they may need to operate their own data centers. And some departments may, because of the need to meet unique, urgent or short-term data center needs, make use of the cloud storage and other facilities. The new complex will perform better than existing government data centers. It can provide more flexible, reliable, and high-capacity government data center services. And it can also support cloud computing, and the calculation capacity can be enhanced to meet increasing demands. With regard to the effectiveness of the complex, hosting IT service in a holistic manner can reap the benefits arising from economy of scale and technological advancement. And economy of scale can also be achieved. Building a new complex can reduce the need for different bureaus and departments to build centers on their own. That will avoid duplication of resources and will allow us to achieve more synergy. Security is, of course, a very important feature. The new complex will make reference to the security experience of existing government data centers. We will make sure that existing security policies and guidelines and procedures are met. And there will also be rigorous security measures. There will be multi-level security measures covering the various floors, the entrance, the plant room, and the racks. And there will also be CCTVs and also security verification systems. In designing the security features, we will seek the views of the police so that we'll be able to withstand malicious attacks. And all the computer systems will be equipped with firewalls and also hacking detection devices so as to avoid cyber attacks. There will also be encryption to make sure that the storage and transfer of important data will be well protected. The complex will provide a utilization rate of 99.98%. In other words, the downtime will not exceed 1 hour 36 minutes each year. And there will also be a speedy recovery system to make sure that the computer system, when necessary, can operate in more than one data center so that e-government service will not be disrupted because of any happening in the complex. The complex will be built with advanced green technologies. We will follow the green building guidelines, and we'll be able to meet level 2 of the relevant standards. There will be vertical greening in order to enhance the green coverage of the complex. That will help to enhance the appearance of the building, and will also be able to reduce the hot island effect, and will also enhance the visual impact. And there will be rigorous energy monitoring and auditing to efficiently adjust and control the temperature in order to achieve the best energy efficiency. So we will try to reduce operational costs, energy consumption, as well as carbon footprint. And concerning the power usage effectiveness, PUE, the target of the complex would be about 1.6, which is on par with the normal PUE value of other data centers in Hong Kong. So all in all, the complex can deal with problems that we are facing with existing government data centers. For example, we can increase the cooling capacity and the supply of electrical power so as to accommodate more servers and more high-tech equipment. A dedicated and purpose-built complex can help us achieve better synergy. According to the consultants, at the moment, we have different departments and bureaus building their respective data centers. And 5% savings in capital costs and 20% savings in recurrent costs can be achieved with a government data center complex. And we will operate the complex in, according to international standards. With regard to the security features, the complex will bring a high level of reliability because the complex will house purpose-built equipment and facilities, and there will be sound security features. Security can be enhanced, and there will be less security risks. And with regard to the PUE, for existing data centers, the average PUE is 2 to 3. And for the new complex, we'll enhance that to 1.6. The new complex can house about 1,400 racks for the various servers and IT equipment. This is going to be a purpose-built facility, and we will in the principle of orderly and gradual progress, integrate the government data service centers in order to support long-term development. So the new complex will be constructed in the industrial area on King Lam Street, Cheung Sha Wan. The zoning of the site is GIC. The area of the site is about 1,400 square meters. We will make the best use of the site, and the total floor area or construction floor area will be about 12,400 square meters. We will carry out a consultancy study, and then we will apply for funding for the construction. The consultants will do the design, and they will also carry out site investigation, minor studies, and they will also draw up the bid documents,
including the plan and also the vetting documents. And the funding that will be required will be about $52.6 million. And subject to the approval of the FC, we expect that in the middle of 2015, we can start that pre-construction consultancy service for completion in early 2017. Afterwards, we will then consult members' views on the proposed project and also seek funding for the construction. In September this year, with regard to the proposed construction plan, we already consulted the Sham Shui Po District Council. Members of the council supported the project and advised that the complex should put in place sufficient security measures to protect against physical attacks and incorporate such green features as vertical greening and so on. So we will ensure that there would be sufficient green features and also sufficient security measures. We hope that the plan will be supported by the panel. And the way forward is to go to the PWSC and then to the FC for funding for the consultancy study. Madam Chair, this is my briefing on the proposed data center complex, and we'll be happy to take your questions. Yes, 4 minutes each. First, Mr. Charles Mok, and then Mr. Tam Yu Chung. Mr. Charles Mok. Well, I support the construction of this complex, but then, well, when compared to the business sector or the private sector, the administration has been very slow in building this center. Because initially, according to your original plan, when did you start? And then by the time when you complete, well, it can be as late as 2020. For those who are not in the know, they would have thought that that the administration has dragged its feet and it was doing its own filibustering. I understand that you're thinking about the next, because the complex is already not enough by the time it's completed, and also given the limited space, it will not be able to serve the entire government. And if you continue to drag your feet this way, then we will be concerned, because you know that your demand is increasing very rapidly. So the situation is really very pressing. So what is your next plan? Because what we are concerned that if it takes you 10 years to build the first one, and then in the private sector, they would just need about 2 years to complete one. All right, actually it would be less than 2 years. So we'll be very concerned. And also during the past 2 years or so, we have already seen that different departments have been doing or building their own data center, and then when we ask them why they have not resorted to the government central one, all right, they would always say that sorry, the administration has not completed its own complex, and that's why we can only build our own. So sometimes we would have hesitation in approving such funding for other departments to build their own data center. So after you have completed that, will other departments need to build their own data center because of their own needs? So can you tell us more about that, Mr. Lai? Thank you. On the timing of this, in fact, in late 2012, as soon as we completed the consultancy study, we already worked on that basis. We already confirmed that there would be this need. That's why we started the work to identify the site. And then as soon as we identified the site, we already started to work on this plan. And therefore, we tried to come to this council for approval this year. And when can we build it? Of course, we have to get the funding, and then we will have to do the tendering. And then for the pre-construction consultancy, that will be completed in 2017. And then we can then proceed with the construction next stage. At present, we have 4 data centers which will move into this, and there are 5 departments involved. And of course, there are other departments because of their own unique needs. And in some cases, they've already got their own existing data centers. For example, the police force, they've already got their own data centers, and we will not be forcing them to move into our own center. And in some cases, they need to expand theirs, and if they don't have enough space, then we would encourage them to move into our data center. As regards the second data center, we will be starting to look at the overall situation, because we have to strike a balance. That is, on the one hand, we would not be integrating them for the sake of integrating, because we also have to think about the relocation costs. And therefore, the best thing is to have a department which incidentally also needs to install a new system or needs to expand its data center, and then it will find it more convenient to move into our center. And therefore, we only have very little spare capacity to accommodate other departments. So when do you plan to complete this one? Have you got any estimated completion date for the center? We hope that we can commission it before 2020. 2020, all right, there's some time to go. There is still a long time to go. Well, why can you only complete the consultancy study in 2017? Just now, I'd like to make sure that I have not got it wrong. Madam Chair, well, maybe the ASD can supplement. As far as we understand it, well, for the government to do it, undeniably, sometimes it's a bit slow because we have to do the tendering, and then we have to identify the consultant to do it. And then we have also mentioned a number of requirements, and the consultant would also have to prepare the tendering document for us. And after they have done it, then we will have to put it out for tendering. And then given the time that will be required for the tendering exercise, we believe that it can only be completed in 2017. All right, Mr. Tam Yu Chong. Well, whether or not it's a bit slow, well, sometimes it's beyond the control of the administration in terms of the timing. Well, even if we approve it at the panel, then you will have to go to the PWSC, and then you will have to go to the FC, and there is no way to tell how long it will take before it gets endorsed by the FC. So sometimes it's out of the administration's control. But then I'd also like to ask this. Okay, you said that this is the pre-construction consultancy service, and yet how many floors will there be? You haven't told us. So do you have the information already? And also, after the design is out, if it's very costly, then you will give people the impression that it's going to be a luxurious design, like a repeat of the RTHK case. So by 2017, after much work has been done, and then you come up and then you will seek approval for this very expensive project. And then if it's rejected, then what will happen? So have you thought about those scenarios? Well, Madam Chair, well, according to our estimate, looking at the plot ratio, there will be about 13 floors. As to the construction costs, as we haven't really got all the details in place, it's difficult to come up with a very detailed costing. But then, as far as I understand it, for the data center, well, basically we're talking about a building requiring certain facilities and so on. So other than very special or specific site conditions, well, if you look at the data, if I remember it correctly, the Hong Kong X, the Hong Kong and the Hong Kong Securities and Futures Exchange, all right, it was completed in 2013, and of course it's a bit earlier. And of course, if you start late, then of course the cost would be higher. But then if you're talking about 31,400 square meters when compared to the 12,000 square meters, is a lot bigger. And if you look at the number of racks, is 1,200, and we will be providing some 1,400, and the cost for the Hong Kong X complex was $1.5 billion, and of course the site is different, and therefore the costing that we will come up might be somewhat different. But then that would give you some idea as to how much it might cost. Is it located on a slope or what? You will have to be very careful, or else you might need to get supplementary funding. And looking at the fire prevention facilities, and also the other security features, they could also be very costly. So I'm just reminding you to be careful in doing your costing. Another question that I'd like to ask, all right, there are some outsourced data centers. So some departments have outsourced their services to a private operator. So after doing it, or after building your own complex, will you be able to save some money by doing that in-house instead of outsourcing it? Well, for the outsourced data centers, well, a small number of them will move into the new complex, but then for the majority of them, because of their unique needs and also their short-term needs, they will still have to make use of the outsourced data center services. As to whether or not we'll be able to make some savings, we have to look at it from an overall perspective. If the outsourced data centers need to retender time and again, then the department would prefer going into the new complex. But then if it's just for short-term needs, then we will still keep the outsourced service. Thank you. All right, I still have some time left. All right, according to the paper, it says that some 9 policy bureaus and departments will be using it, and then according to the PowerPoint, there will be 15. So has there been an increase or what? Or have I misread it? Yes, Mr. Lam? Well, for 15, well, we are talking about at present, some 15 departments are using data centers, and for those that will be moving into the new complex, for the time being, we've got only 9. And of course, we are discussing with different departments, and more might be joining later. Thank you. Next, Raymond Chan. Thank you, Madam Chair. In fact, for this new data center, well, it will be a long time before it's completed, because the administration just told us that, well, it might be 2020, but then some 80% of the data centers are reaching their capacity. So according to your planning, when will they be saturated or reaching capacity, and what happens next? Are you going to use outsourced data center services then? Because at present, some 420 racks have to be outsourced. So will you have a chance to tell us which departments are involved? And also in deciding to go for outsourced centers, are there any guidelines? Why am I so concerned about this? For example, we have the Customs and Excise, the ICAC, the police, and also the immigration department, and so on. So have they been outsourcing their services now? Because in building the new complex, we talk about the security features, and of course, you will have to make sure that it's foolproof. So in terms of security, how do you control it? Because if you talk about a high security complex, like the Hong Kong X complex, they don't even have a label on the facade of the building in order to avoid any attacks. So how are you able to ensure that the complex will be safe and secure? Well, for outsourcing the services at present, well, let me answer the second question first. The existing data center, as to when they will be saturated, given the fact that they are already reaching some 80% utilization. Well, for those that are nearing capacity, there is no way that the capacity can be increased any further. And if our complex can be completed in time, we should be able to cope with the need. With regard to the security requirement for outsourced data center service, well, for cloud computing, well, some of it has been outsourced, and for the security requirement, that has to tie in with ISO 27001. That's the international standard. So basically, our security level will not be compromised or affected. But then for some centers, if they have special statutory requirements, so much so that they will have to be operated within government buildings, then they will have to stay in government buildings. But then if you talk about security, each and every data center belonging to the government is safe and is able to reach or meet government security standards. Well, for the 420 racks, which departments are involved? And just now, I was referring to the police force. They've already got 3 data centers, and then in the new complex, upon its completion, is one of the departments that will be using it. So will they be housing all the 3 centers in the complex, or will they be housing the new ones in the new complex, while the existing ones will just continue with their own operations?
Yes, Chairman. With regard to the police, they will primarily be making use of their own data center, but then new services will be housed in the complex. What do you mean by new services? And will the police continue to build their own data center? They will be putting their new services in the complex. What do you mean by new services? New items or extra storage? Both cases. Say if they have new IT projects or items, they will, of course, consider the complex as their top priority. But then if their systems need to be upgraded and if their existing data center doesn't have the capacity, they will again give priority to the complex. Ms. Claudia Mo, in Hong Kong, we do not have an access to information law. And so when members of the public or journalists ask government departments for information, bureaus and departments decide whether they will make available such information. The government is not, or the administration is not a person. The government or the administration is supposed to serve the public. But I think you know how much confidence the public have in the government or in the administration. So you said that the police or their work was unique, and so they would keep their own center. And it is not compulsory for all bureaus and departments to move to the new complex. You are just saying that they should consider using the new complex. So it gives me the impression that you are building a complex for the sake of building one, and I'm worried that this complex may become another white elephant, as pro-establishment members have pointed out. This complex may be very costly. You've mentioned a figure of over 1 billion, so it may be 2 billion or over 2 billion. And then this complex will be built in Cheung Sha Wan. The site is neither too big nor too small, and we are really presented with this fait accompli. But then if you need to expand the complex, that it won't be space, and we are told that $50 million will be required for the consultancy study. The government always complains that there aren't sufficient sites in the urban area for housing purpose. So why can't you carry a housing development on that site? And for a data center, it can be located in more remote areas. And do you have a ceiling in mind? No, I think the complex will cost at least $2 billion. Do you have a cap in mind, say 5 billion, and that you will not go ahead if the cost exceeds 5 billion, for example? Yes, thank you, Chairman. In this data center, or for this data center, we look at the following factors. Some departments and bureaus have their own data centers. If these centers have reached capacity, and if their centers need to be relocated, then the complex should be considered. But then if existing centers do not need to be relocated, then they will not be relocated. And so out of the 9 departments or bureaus, 4 of them, in fact, are in the Wan Chai government tower. Allow me to interrupt, Chairman. So you have said that bureaus and departments can still rely on outsourced services where necessary. Why? So will there be a situation where no department or bureau will want to use the complex? No. 9 departments and bureaus have indicated that they will move their data centers to the complex. The complex will be completed in 2020. And there may be some spare capacity for contingency purposes, and some of the capacity may be used to replace outsourced services. And if members look at the plan, they'll see that in fact there are industrial buildings nearby. This is not a big site, it's a GIC site. But then the zoning is GIC, so it is a site suitable for a data center instead of housing development. Ms. N. Chair, I've got 2 questions. So you've chosen this site in Cheung Sha Wan. Is it because there is this site available, and so you've chosen this district, Cheung Sha Wan? Or is it that you think Cheung Sha Wan is a suitable district to house the complex? That's my first question. Second, so you're proposing to build a complex and host government IT services in a holistic manner. I want to know the savings in terms of operating costs. I don't think you have given us the information. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. With regard to the site, the building floor area of 12,400 square meters is, in our view, very suitable for a complex, and the site is also suitably located. In fact, we've looked at other sites. There are some other sites which can provide this building floor area. But then for the more remote sites, there may be a problem with electrical supply or power supply, and as a result, new power substations may need to be constructed. And so this Changsha Wan site is the most suitable site for the complex. And the second question is, so 9 data centers will be housed under one roof, and there will be savings in operating costs, and also management can be enhanced. Are there other advantages? Of course, these are the advantages, Chairman, and many of our existing centers are aging, and the maintenance costs for these centers are high. And what is more, for existing aging data centers, we can do only very little in terms of greening. And so the complex will give us the opportunities for expansion and greening. And that's why we are proposing a new complex. Chairman, I wish to follow up. As far as I understand, data centers are usually built in more remote areas. For Google, it's along Columbia River in Dallas. And then Alibaba, this data center is in Gansu province. So data centers have to be located in remote areas because data centers are like big heaters. And security is, of course, very important. And a data center simply can't be located right at the heart of the community. And a data center must be far away from factory buildings. You know, there are a lot of factory buildings nearby. And in fact, there are many storage godowns in factory buildings in Hong Kong. And inflammable materials may be stored in these factory buildings, and so a data center should be far away from factory buildings. And what's more, a data center should also be far away from areas where air pollution is serious, and you know the air quality in Sham Shui Po is poor. Now, so you think the plot ratio is suitable, the gross floor area is suitable, but I don't think these are good enough reasons for constructing the data center on this site. Right, Mr. Yu Siwing. There are so many bureaus and departments operating data centers, and I think it's a bit late to start identifying a site to build a data center complex now, but of course it's still better late than never. The consultancy study is about the hardware, the design, and the drafting and the preparation of the tender documents. I think we all understand that for a data center, the hardware as well as the software is important. There are 25 data centers now being operated by the government. And we can't just pay attention to the hardware. Different bureaus and departments may have different demands. They may still stick to old processes, and as a result, efficiency cannot be enhanced. So I think the audio should try to put forward counter proposals with a view to integrating resources. I think it's important that there be a neutral, scientific, and objective unit to come up with proposals for the complex. I think this is important. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chairman. We do not only look at the hardware in our design. We will also pay attention to the synergy effect. The chief consultant will be responsible for designing the complex, and there will be other consultants to look at other aspects of the operation of the complex. So outside consultants will be hired to carry out the studies, and the chief consultant will be relying on the expertise of expert consultants in relevant fields. The complex won't be completed till a few years later. We are now talking about software-defined networks and systems. So we will take into account state-of-the-art technology. We will not use a legacy design for a new data center complex. We will incorporate new ideas for software management in the complex. Mr. Yu, you talk about the work of a chief consultant. Are you talking about an outside consultant, or are you talking about a consultant within government to be responsible for the overall development of the software? I think the ASD can tell you more about the work of the consultants. Thank you. Thank you. Please speak into the mic. This is a funding application for consultancy services. So there will be an architectural consultant, a building services consultant, a structural consultant. So they will work as a team. And they will carry out a detailed study and come up with an integrated proposal for the complex. I think Mr. Yu is not satisfied with the reply. We can ask again in the next round. Mr. Sin Chung Kai. Chairman, I think a data center complex should in the long run be able to help the government achieve savings. So what tier is this complex in? And then second, I understand that some backup arrangements are needed. So are you going to do it on a hot basis? In other words, mutual backup. So how are you going to do the backup?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With regard to disaster salvation, well, we have set out that 4 old data centers will be moving in, and then in Chin Wan, we are going to have a backup data center, and then in Sai Kung, there is another backup data center. So these 2 backup data centers might not be able to fully provide hot backup for individual racks, but then in a new data center, when there is a need for us to transfer the operation of the data center to the backup center, these two will be there. So have you done any estimate, well, with the funding request that you will come up? What's the capital cost going to be like together with the operating cost? Have you done the calculation? So have you added up the two? I don't know if you have done that. So will there be any saving? And if you're able to achieve any saving, then what's the payback period like? I think they've also set it out in the PowerPoint presentation, right? Yes, Madam Chair, when we prepared the consultancy report, we also did the calculation, and there would be some saving, and in terms of capital cost, we would be able to save some 5%, and in terms of the operation, the annual recurrent cost will come down by some 20%. And then what about the payback period? Yes, Victor? Well, if we are able to achieve a saving of some 20% every year, then the general calculation is that the payback period will be about 5 years. Mr. Sin? So that's according to the consultancy report. But then if you look at our cost for the data center right now, we haven't really finalized that, and we will have to first finalize the cost, and then we'll be able to decide when we'll be able to fully recover the cost. And then when we seek proper funding for the center, we will be giving you more details. All right, for the consultancy study estimate, when you get the funding, will you be able to add the sums with regard to the capital cost and the operating cost, and also how much saving you'll be able to achieve? Yes, we'll give you further details when we seek funding for the construction of the data center. Yes, Mr. Lang Kwok Hong. Madam Chair, well, for operating cost, you'll be able to save some 20%, or are you talking about the overall cost? So are you saying that you'll be able to save the recurrent cost by some 20%? According to the consultancy report, for the recurrent cost, that will come down by some 20% every year. So are you saying that there will be a 20% on top of the 20% saved for the construction? No, it's the annual recurring cost. For example, if it's $100 originally, then after the completion and commissioning of the new center, that will come down to $80. So when will it be commissioned? A long time later. Well, the service life is at least 20 years. The serviceable life will be at least 20 years. In other words, you'll be able to make a gain. Even if you calculate the depreciation. Well, upon the commissioning of the new data center, concerning the overall operation, how much saving will we be able to achieve? I don't quite get it. Okay, you have a lot of parameters, okay, X, Y, and so on. And then according to the lady just now, you just look at the construction cost, and you said that for the software there would also be some. So what will the consultant do? Is he going to just design the hardware for the complex, or will he also be working on the software as to what you need? So can you tell us more about that? Because apparently I've got two answers. Well, for the 1.5 or $150 million, that's the consultancy fee for the pre-construction design. But what about the software? Well, software is not included here. So just now we were referring to another consultancy study. So for the $50 million, so that's for the pre-construction. And then as to what will be housed there, and which center will be moving in, will there be another consultancy study? No. So just now we were talking about the construction of the data center, and prior to that in 2012 we already had another consultancy study. In fact, one has been completed. So we're talking about two separate studies. So for the $50 million, so he's there to help you with the construction. So he'll be designing how the complex will be built. It's not just about the construction. Well, as far as the data center is concerned, we do need a lot of facilities like ventilation, power supply, and so on. So the consultant would have to design on the air conditioning, for example. Will we be using water cooling system and so on? All right, point taken. Okay, in a future data center, what about the arrangements inside? Will there be another consultant to do it? No. At present, for the so-called systems or software to be used in a new data center, well, we will be moving in some of the existing centers. So the racks will be those that are being used right now. So it has nothing to do with the construction itself. So in the future, when you come to us for funding, will you make it clear? Okay, you will be building the structure itself, and then on top of that, will there be new consultancy study or contracts and so on? Because at present, it's very commonplace to have design and build contracts. So this consultant will be designing the hardware. But what about the software? Will somebody be helping you to do the job? No, there is no need to have another consultancy study on the software. So on this occasion, is it going to be a design and build contract or what? Can you give us more details? Well, he will be designing that, and then he will be preparing the tendering document, and then we will go for an open tender, and then people will come in to do the construction. Well, as to the design right now, well, basically is to design how the building is to be like, and also for ventilation, water supply, and power supply, and so on. And then when we go to the FC for funding for the construction of the complex, we have to set out very clearly as to what system will be used in its future operations. For example, it's like the existing data centers, all right, it's done in-house, and we do not hire another consultant to look at the software for the data centers and so on. But then if there is a need, then it's my duty to make sure that it's set out very clearly in the paper as to what will be included and what not. So well, I'll be giving you more details when we submit the paper. Next, all right, in doing the data center, the administration will be slow, and if you look at the operation of the electrical now, definitely things will be slowed down even further. We're looking at the tendering document and also the consultancy study that will be ready in 2017, and some say that in mid-2015. Will you be confident that you will be able to get the approval from this council, which is really very difficult? And according to your estimate, if you're not able to get the approval within this session, then looking at the figures that you provide to us, will there be adjustments? And of course the timing will be delayed. But then what about the costing? Will the costing here be wrong? Because according to your estimate, it will be $52.6 million. As a layman, there is no way that I can tell if this is accurate. But then you also refer to a data center which was completed in 2013 that was built by the SFC, according to Mr. Chen. Sorry, it's the Hong Kong X. So how much did it cost for them to do the consultancy study? So can you give us a more detailed breakdown? Because I have no idea as to whether the breakdown is accurate. Yes, Ms. Ho. Well, I'll have to ask the ASD to help us out with the detailed breakdown. And if we are not able to hire the consultant by mid-2015, of course, there'll be a time lost, and also the consultancy fee will be difficult to estimate, and we will have to do more calculations. So when we go to the FC, we will have to be very careful about the costing. As to the consultancy fee estimate, is it reasonable? If you look at the present figure, the reason why I'm taking this so seriously, because people might be questioning if you're going to build a very luxurious building, whether or not it's going to cost you tens of billions of dollars. But then what we have to assess is the $52.6 million. Is it reasonable? That's what we are looking at. Well, I'll say a few words. In fact, if you look at this proposal, if it gets support, if it gets the support from this panel, then we'll be going to the PWSC, and then when we go to the PWSC, we will be giving you the details as to the breakdowns, what will be included and how much they cost. But then roughly, I can give you some ideas. What we will be hiring a chief designer or architect, and that will cost us something. And then we also have to do a site investigation to find out if the site foundation is okay and how it should be done. And there is also a big slope on Ching Chang Road, and we will also have to carry out some site investigation there. And if it's translated into a works contract, then how much it would cost, and also what's the scope of the works. So that's the rough breakdown. As to further details, definitely when we seek funding from the PWSC, we will have to give you all the details. Well, Madam Chair, I'd like to ask a follow-up. Just now, Ms. Ann Chiang also referred to the site. She referred to 2 reasons. Are there any other reasons why they've chosen this site? I remember it used to be an industrial area, and it should have been the warehouse for Long Key, if I remember it correctly. And earlier on, there was this Caritas hospital. It's just a few hundred meters further down. So there's this hospital nearby. So can you explain to us, when you carry out the works with regard to the nearby industrial buildings? They are all very old, more than a few decades old. So will they be affected? Well, we're finished with the first round, and no one has raised their hand, only except Yu Si-yun. So can you tell us more about the location? And then Mr. Yu Si-wing can ask in the second round. So can you also answer the question about the site choice? Yes, Mr. Lam. All right, the present site is a temporary car park, and it can accommodate some 50 vehicles at any one time, and it's not really an industrial building. And for the surrounding environment, whether it will be affected, in fact, the Architectural Services Department has done an initial environmental impact assessment in conjunction with the EPD, and the impact on the surrounding environment should not be significant. Next, Yu Si-wing. According to my understanding, the consultancy fee will be about how the building should be built. And according to my understanding, after the complex is built, then whoever wants to go in can go in. And then for those who do not want to go in, then you will not force them. I think that's a problem in terms of coordination. All right, you talk about the chief consultant. I was rest assured that somebody would be doing the coordinator's job. But then after listening to the details, I am concerned, because after the completion of the center, well, before the construction, if you have not looked into the client's needs, and then you just go ahead with the building, and then after its completion, you will then ask if any department might be interested in moving in, then that would be a problem. So other than the consultancy study that is about the hardware, you also have to look at the software development. You should have engaged another consultant to do it. So even if you do not have the expert in-house, then you will have to hire one, and then you'll be able to look at the actual need of the data center. So will the administration be merging the two or looking into this? Well, I think Mr. Yu is asking whether or not there is an overall policy by the administration, or have you done any study planning that all future data centers will be integrated into one compound center in the future. Is that what you meant?
I get the impression, Chairman, that they simply want to build a complex. But do you think I've correctly summarized your question? Yes. There was a consultancy study in 2012. The study was about the way forward for government data centers. So the proposal is to build a government data center complex to achieve better synergy effect and to achieve savings in terms of capital and operating costs. Now, different departments and bureaus now have their own data centers. Some of them have not reached capacity. Some of them are still rather new, both in terms of the hardware and the software, and so will not force these departments and bureaus to move their data centers to the complex. Rather, data centers which need to be relocated will move into the complex. So if departments and bureaus have new services, then they should give priority to having the new services housed in the complex. So for the 9 departments or bureaus, some of them will house new services in the complex, some of them will relocate their existing centers to the complex. And if for bureaus and departments of aging data centers, we will advise them to move their data centers into the complex. But then, of course, for data centers which haven't reached capacity, which are still new, there's no urgency for these to move into the complex. But then by the time the complex is completed, these departments or the bureaus may need to move their data centers into the complex. And also we may need to identify another site to build another complex. So from now till the commencement of the consultancy study is going to take some years. And I think during this period there must be good coordination. Chairman, in fact, a year ago, a committee was set up within the OGIL, comprising representatives from departments and bureaus, which may need to move their data centers into the complex. So this committee comprises over 10 departments and bureaus. And we'll make sure that we can take care of their demands in the new complex. Right, there are no further questions from members on this issue. So is it that the panel supports the funding application in principle? Is there any strong objection? All right, so the panel expresses its support for this funding application. So let's move on to agenda item number 4. Report on the work of the Hong Kong Design Centre and future plans. So we'd like to welcome the officials and also representatives from the Design Centre.
副主席坐喺度就可以睇，而家呢層。好，咁咧就歡迎各位嚇。
Right. Good afternoon. I will not introduce the officials to members. And I understand that there will be a PowerPoint presentation first. Please be concise in your presentation. Yes, Permanent Secretary. Yes, I'll say a few words and then I'll invite Dr. Lee to supplement. In April 2012, the Finance Committee provided funding for the Hong Kong Design Center to fund the operation of the Design Center in the following 3 years. We're now here to report to members the work of the Design Center from April to October this year. We have been working with design associations and organizations, stakeholders, and we hope that we can launch activities that can suit the development of the sector. The Design Center has been operating with limited resources, but then it has launched a number of activities. The BODW is a signature event and is internationally acclaimed. The funding will be used up in the middle of 2015. We need to continue to secure funding for the work of the Design Center. We'd like to hear member suggestions which can help us map the way forward for the Design Center. Thank you. Dr. Lee. Yes, I'll briefly and quickly go through the slides. We hope our vision is to promote Hong Kong as the center for design in Asia. Please speak into the mic, Dr. Lee. Now, when we talk about design, we are not just concerned about the outer appearance. We hope that we can also enhance the quality of life in society. At the moment, there are different platforms available to designers, the users, and the general public. We are promoting international exchange and collaboration, and we are also trying to enhance users' awareness of design. We hope to promote design excellence, and we hope to also provide incubation programs for designpreneurs. And we are also attaching more and more importance to our cooperation with the PNQ. So in April, there was the exhibition in Milan, and there was the Hong Kong Constant Change exhibition. And the response received was very encouraging. In the mainland, we continue to promote our design services. We're working with the TDC. In fact, we once went to Nanjing to promote our design services. And with the Hong Kong Shenzhen Design Biennial, this is in fact a new platform, and it enables better cooperation between Hong Kong and Shenzhen in terms of design. Then on continuous learning, we have the Knowledge of Design Week at the end of June. And we, through this Knowledge of Design Week, held forums and workshops to disseminate new knowledge on creativity and design. And good designers also need to have good bosses and also users who know how to appreciate and make use of their designs. And so we have the Institute of Design Knowledge, the IDK. And starting from next week, there will be training modules under the EMBA course offered by a university. Then coming to civil servants, we have been commissioned by the CSTDI to hold workshops for civil servants. In fact, we delivered training sessions on service innovation and implementation. Now let me turn to promotion of design excellence. We have the Design for Asia Awards every year. This year we had over 1,000 entries from 20 odd countries or areas. And 30% of the prizes were won by Hong Kong designers, and 3 major awards in fact went to Hong Kong designers. And there is the Hong Kong Young Design Talent Award. A total of 18 awards were presented. Of course, we have got funding support from the government for this award, and 14 of the award winners will undergo overseas work placement or further study with government sponsorships. And then since 2012, we've secured government funding for the DIP. A total of 59 new incubatees have been recruited, and 47 of them are still undergoing incubation at the Inno Center. And they have won local as well as international awards. They have also been able to provide jobs for local people. We've been working with different shopping malls. In September, we had a joint function with K11. It was a 3-day design mart, providing a platform for 59 participating designers to display and market their creative works and products in a real business setting. There were over 7,000 shoppers, and a total sales value of about $450,000 was generated. We have been working with the Center for Entrepreneurship of CUHK on business practices, market concepts. We want to disseminate these concepts among local designers and creative professionals. We of course have our own library, and in the PMQ we are helping PMQ working on the Taste Library and the Design Library projects. The BODW this year has just been completed, and perhaps you can take a look at this. Last week, we had the 1 week of BODW.
One, two, three.
From the first BOW, I'm already joined this program. Yes, we can share and visit a lot of speakers.
I think the other thing which is impressive about BOW is actually the calibre and the quality of the speakers that you get and the fact that they are global.
The event brings together a very amazing collection of very diverse people, so I always learn something myself.
See you next year.
我们明年再見。
我哋出年見啊
Mr. next month.
！See you next year。
好，報告完畢。
好，唔該，咁我哋。
That's the end of our report. All right, we can now start with the question and answer sessions, 4 minutes each. Tam Yu Chung and then Raymond Chan. Thank you, Madam Chair. With regard to the Design Center, of course, we'd like to be able to do more things, but then the scope can be very broad and anything can be said to have something to do with design, and therefore will we be able to fully develop the potential of the center. But then Para 13 says that the center will also be providing training for middle-ranking managers in the civil service. So can you tell us more about that? So in training such middle-rank managers, what skills are you teaching them? And also after the training, how does that link up with their work in the civil service, and also what kind of effect can be seen? For example, after the training, well, they would be able to do somewhat differently in their jobs. So who is to answer this question? Yes, Dr. Lee. Well, in the name of the IDK, the Institute of Design Knowledge, we try to provide the training in conjunction with the Civil Service Training Center. In fact, it's like the Royal College of Art in the UK. So that's the Hamlin Center for Design of the Royal College of Art. So they try to use a different mindset to enhance the creative thinking of the individuals, and they try to look at things from different perspectives so that when they provide the services, they can do it differently in order to enhance the experience of the users. So through such workshops, every time it lasts 2 days, and then there will be an overseas speaker flying in, and then there will be a group of 30-40 people from different departments and bureaus, and then through some interactive activities they will conduct the workshop. So that's very similar to the standard design schools and so on. They would have different people coming from different sectors to join in a class, and as far as possible during the half-day session, well, in terms of the knowledge enhancement, I'll try to make sure that it can be connected to their work, and then we'll have to look at Hong Kong setting and how those skills can be applied to Hong Kong setting. So we have been doing that for the 2nd year now. So we've been organizing such 2-day workshops for the CSTDC. Yes, I can also supplement other than what Dr. Lee just said. With regard to the IDK, well, generally speaking, in the course, we would also introduce some overseas experience with regard to different departments or overseas governments in dealing with service and procurement. We will try to share their experience. So through these overseas experience, Hong Kong civil servants in dealing with different services and procurement, they can broaden their horizon, and then they can also think out of the box instead of adopting the conventional thinking that they should always go for the lowest bid in making procurement decisions. We hope that in terms of creative thinking, we'll be able to enhance or increase the weighting given to this so that we'd be able to share the overseas experience. Yes, Sir Raymond Chan and then Charles Mock. Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, we have this paper, and that's called the report on the work of the Hong Kong Design Centre and future plans are from April to October 2014. So are they going to come back once every 7 months? In fact, they've also told us about the BODW, which just took place in October. So is it that they'd just like to share with us some of the recent experience because it's been very remarkable, or are they coming for further funding and therefore they are trying to showcase these? And whether or not these are effective, it's very difficult to measure the success or otherwise within a very short space of time, given the fact that you've submitted the paper and presented us the figures. All right, you talk about the highlight, that's the Milan show, the Hong Kong Constant Change exhibition. All right, you talk about the number of people or guests, and also some 200 pieces of press coverage and some 25,000 visitors. But then if you look at the website hits, it's just 13,000. So in terms of the web browsers, there should have been a lot more than the number of visitors. And also you talk about the $25 million spent. So how much money has that been able to translate into in terms of the revenue brought to Hong Kong? And also you talk about the 95% of 95% success rate for that. In other words, after 2 years, if you are able to continue with your operation, then that would be called a success. But then have they been able to make a profit? So that's under the Design Entrepreneurs Scheme. That's the incubation scheme. And then that also brought me back to the PMQ, because I'm very concerned about this, and I'm also very worried about this. And in the paper, you said that some incubatees have started a business or retail business at the PMQ. So with regard to the collaboration with the PMQ for these incubatees, would they be offered concessionary terms, or do they have to apply as any ordinary retailers? Because I've also asked a friend to consider going into PMQ. And if you take that as an exhibition or showroom for people from all over the world, it's very nice. But then if you want to make money, that might not be viable. Well, people might just come in to buy 1 or 2 skirts, and then you will have to pay your employees, and then business is something, or business turnover is something else. So would you like them to answer the question first? So would you be concerned about their business turnover? Will they be able to do a viable business there? Who is to answer this question? Mr. Liu? Thank you. On the first question, on the Milan show, according to our information, indeed, you can see that for visitors are logging onto the exhibition website. In fact, the number is somewhat lower than the number of visitors going to the exhibition itself. Well, we will have to be more careful, because we'd like to publicize that online, so that on the internet there could be wider publicity. But then the fact that we can have 25,000 visitors going to the exhibition itself, that's because in April, that's to tie in with the annual function in Milan, and that's the Milan Design Week. So we've managed to stage the show during the Milan Design Week. That's why we've been able to attract some important media coverage, and also people who are related to the design sector, and they will also be visiting the exhibition. And what's important about this is that in the same venue, in fact, if you look at the Singapore Hall, and also the other country, in fact, they've been working very hard, and if we want to catch up with that, we cannot afford not to do it. But then how about the number of visitors? You talk about South Korea and Singapore. Have you compared the number of visitors with theirs? Well, we haven't got the information. I'll try to get that. And for the other 2 questions, I haven't got enough time. All right, please wait for another round. Next, Charles Mock, and then Claudia Mo. Chairman, I've heard the presentation, and I have not heard them mention anything about technology. And looking at the presentation, it looks very standalone and conventional. It's just about design. And listening to the questions asked by Mr. Raymond Chen in terms of publicity, the way you've done it, you would just be looking at the exhibition and so on. And apparently, that's still very much a conventional approach. But then I would really like to see more crossovers approaches. So in terms of technology, you can see the trend. For example, you have the wearables. So you're talking about technologies that would enable you to really make the best use of technology. Well, just now, Dr. Lee said that it's not just about looking nice. In fact, if you look at the products in terms of the user-friendliness, and some IT companies are saying that when they design certain apps, they will have to hire people who know how to do designs. So much of these involve a combination of tasks and skills, and also more people will have to understand more about technology trends and even cultural trends. So can that be done? And also you talk about some budding design companies, and also for some business startups. And also Ms. Ho, the permanent secretary, has been telling us that for the IT fund and also the cyberport and also the science park, they've been helping the business startups. And then here you're also helping the budding entrepreneurs, and also for the B&Ds for some of their products, like the S3. In fact, they also offer some products that would require more design features. So in this respect, well, I know that something is underway, but then can you do a bit more? So can you give them more importance? Well, there are several departments under the purview of Ms. Ho, so can you ask them to talk to one another more? And in the future, if the IT and bureau can be set up, then some departments might go under that bureau. So I think you should work more to increase collaboration.
Permanent Secretary. Yes, Chairman. In fact, for the cyber port, the science park, and the design center, there is a lot of collaboration, especially when it comes to the incubation programs. I understand that technology and design are closely related, and so we do have the responsibility to bring all of them together. And even if the bureau on innovation technology is set up, it will continue to bring together these various parties. Yes, I think the two should step up cooperation. The design center is they operate in the Inno Center. So in fact, design and innovation and technology belong to the same family. Technology is all pervasive, Chairman. We had a game hackathon with Cyberport this year, and we have strengthened smart textile concerning technology and clothing and the lifestyle. And in fact, about a year ago, we started to have regular CEO meetings with Cyberport and also the Science Park. Now, for example, there are mutual visits. We hope to explore new business opportunities, and we also hope to step up the interface between technology and design. Ms. Claudia Mo, Mr. Charles Mock said he didn't hear the word technology mentioned. But then I've heard at least 2 times the term meaning in all respects, on all fronts. Now, we're talking about design and innovation, and we should not use hackneyed mainland terms like on all fronts and all aspects. Now, for design, of course, fashion design is one important component. In Asia, Japan is the leading place in terms of fashion design. So can we lead our or take our designers to Japan? Of course, Milan is the international fashion capital, but let's do well in this region first. And then according to the slides, there are expos in the mainland, and of course I can accept using simplified characters for expos in the mainland. And here there is the slide on the first Hong Kong Shenzhen Design Biennial. Why is it that only simplified characters are used? Because this is an event involving the 2 cities. Of course, in on the Shenzhen banner, of course they use simplified characters. But why? How come we don't have our own banner? And then why are we not collaborating with other major cities in the mainland like Beijing, Tianjin, and Shanghai? You may say Shenzhen is very near to Hong Kong, and in fact Macau is also very near to Hong Kong geographically. So how come we didn't have such an event for Hong Kong and Macau? I want to talk about fashion design, and then my colleagues will take the other questions. In fact, under the Economic Development Commission, there is a group to look at the development of the fashion industry in Hong Kong, and in fact some recommendations have been put forward. This item is about the Hong Kong Design Center. We understand that there are fashion exhibitions or fashion shows in Paris as well as in Tokyo. We also have the Smart Design Initiative to provide funding for participation in these shows or events. For the first Hong Kong Shenzhen Design Biennial, I think perhaps Mr. Liu can supplement. Yes, Chairman. I want to provide members with some more information about the first Hong Kong Shenzhen Design Biennial. The first biennial was held in Shenzhen. And so the target audience was mainly Shenzhen residents. All right, no time. So so in the Chinese, Shenzhen comes before Hong Kong in 2014. So in the next biennial, Hong Kong will come before Shenzhen in the name. Yes. Mr. Yu Siwing, I think it's important that designers' products are popular. I think the PMQ is a good platform for innovative products. The PMQ has commenced operation not too long ago. I want to know whether you do have statistics concerning the number of local and mainland visitors to PMQ, and can I also know their respective feedback towards PMQ? There's the bar street, so to speak, near PMQ. So I think PMQ is located in a very advantageous position. And so we will try to also promote PMQ as a tourist attraction. Yes, thank you, Chairman. Concerning the number of mainland visitors versus the number of other overseas visitors, the management office is still compiling such figures. In fact, the PMQ is formally commissioned at the end of June. The management company is still in the process of collecting data. I think the data should be available for public reference 1 year after the commencement of operation. The PMQ has been working with the Tourism Board. The Tourism Board in its pamphlets for visitors and also on its website does provide information about the PMQ to visitors. The information is about the revitalization of the buildings, as well as a landmark feature in the Central District. Mr. Yu Siwing, I think it is important that design products can meet the needs of different markets. So we want to know whether PMQ and the products are marketed there are popular among locals, mainland visitors, as well as other overseas visitors. Designers may be encouraged to know that their products are popular among overseas tourists or mainland tourists. And I hope that the Hong Kong Design Center can step up cooperation with the HKTB. So as to give overseas visitors and mainland visitors another dimension to Hong Kong. Now, because there will be another meeting in this conference room at 4:30, so we cannot extend the duration of this meeting. So for members who have indicated that they wish to ask questions, each will have 4 minutes, and I have already drawn the line. So there are 4 members who will want to ask questions. Please remember to allow time for the administration to give replies. Ms. N. Chang. Yes, thank you. Mr. Yu asked whether the HKDC had been working with the Tourism Board. I think this is a good suggestion, and I think what is most important is that you have to work with the HKTDC. Yes, I'll try to answer this question. The HKDC works very often with the TDC. In June this year, we worked with the TDC at a publicity program in Nanjing called Smart Hong Kong 2014. So we operated a very big booth with over 20 Hong Kong companies showcasing their design and innovation services. In fact, there were talks and there was also service matching. I think Dr. Lee can give the member more information. Now, Chairman. No, we have this photo showing the night market at PMQ. I think a night market is like a fleece market, and it sells some used items. And for new designs, now every year we have a number of major fairs sponsored by the HKTDC. Toys, fashion, electronic goods, and these fairs attract buyers from all over the world. So at these fairs, there should be a Hong Kong design gallery or booth. I'm sure it will attract overseas buyers, and also that would mean business opportunities for the designers. And also the other at these fairs there are also other enterprises, and so the entrepreneurs may commission young designers to design products for them. Yes, the designers can go to Milan once in a while, but I think we should make better use of local opportunities. Mr. Liu, we achieved great success in Nanjing this year, and I want to say that for the BODW, the TDC is one of the major sponsors. It provides the venue at a very low price, and at the same time there is the IBT Expo in the HKCEC, showcasing the successful examples of partnering countries. And then for PMQ, I want to say that TDC operates a design gallery there. And this design gallery gets advice from the Hong Kong Design Center. And so if you go to the gallery, you'll see exhibits by Hong Kong designers, and they are different from exhibits you can see at the CEC or at the airport.
Sit-Ho, all right, in September, Charles Mock and myself and about 10 members went to Scandinavia, and then during our duty visit we went to Stockholm, which was the capital for design, to visit their design center, and we could see that in their design center, many from the sector and service providers work together to support the operation of the design center. All right, in their case, the business sector work together to set up this center and operate it. And then in our case, is the government running the center, and we are almost on our knees asking the business sector to join such workshops and training and so on. But then for so many years that you've been working, and if you are still not able to get the business sector to provide the funding for this, then it's really most unfortunate, because the administration has been giving its policy support and even spending money to provide the hardware. So these are just administrative measures, but then in the long run you cannot just expect the administration to do it alone. So why is it that the private sector and also the service providers in their design flow chart, why are they not willing to put up the funds for this? So can you tell us why Hong Kong has this problem? And also, even if you have new ideas, you also need the technology support so that workshops can translate this into products. But then in Hong Kong, we no longer have any factories, so even if they have innovative designs, they can only go to Shenzhen for the production. So that would not be conducive to the budding artists and designers. So even if they are experienced designers for the production of the prototype, that's not very good. So even if you have the idea, if no one is helping you to translate that idea into a product, then that's not going to help. If you look at the development of computers over the past century or so, in the process, many people were very innovative. They had a lot of new ideas, but then as they did not have Bell Labs support or even the support from the military or the defense sector, they have not been able to come up with the machinery to produce the big machines. So how are we able to overcome such hurdles? Who is to answer this? With regard to collaboration with the sector, indeed, there was some help from the sector. So it's not true to say that they would not adopt those designs at all. In fact, if you look at the design sector, every year for the number of graduates, they are rather substantial in number, and actually many do join the profession, so they really apply what they've learned at school to their job. So these are designers, but then whether or not they'll start their own business, that's another story. And then with regard to collaboration with the business sector and also for the design association and so on, or professional bodies and so on, they've organized a lot of activities, and that's also funded under another CSI funding. But then is the sector willing to fund the operation of the design center? All right, if the designer is already working in this profession, then in terms of the incubator scheme, they would also help. For example, in the fashion sector or industry, there are many fashion companies which would also do their own prototypes, and they would also get workshops to do it. But then how about new blood? They would not be able to get the same done. So how are they able to overcome such challenges? Well, as far as the fashion industry is concerned, the fashion working group suggested that the administration might want to make this attempt and identify some workshops to do it. Well, under the CEPA for the textile column, the Textile Association also has been doing this, but then for the fashion industry, they would also have to first have a textile design. So are they going to get a textile workshop to do it? So can you identify one? Well, the incubation center, the Incube Center will have to think about it. Next, Leung Kwok Hong. I'm dozing off listening to the remarks. Nothing new has been put out or put forth. All right, I know some friends in the design sector, and they've been complaining that for the HKCEC and other venues, there aren't many venues available for them to stage exhibitions. So maybe I can just open my board office or my office upstairs for them to come and voice their complaints, because there are many designers who have joined the Occupy movement downstairs. Well, they've been saying that for the TDC, it's not been doing its job at all. All right, the TDC is funded by the administration and yet is beyond the reach of the administration. All right, they are operating on commercial principles, and so the administration has no say in its operation. All right, for the budding designers, without the support of the business sector, you do not have any connection in the sector. And even if you want to showcase one of your designs in an exhibition, you won't be able to do it. So the TDC is expanding its influence everywhere. All right, when I stage a protest, they would send out people to take care of me. So I'm just asking this on behalf of the young designers out there. All right, why is it that for those below 40, they do not support CY Leung? That's because CY Leung is not doing anything to help them. So these are very mature people, and therefore they are looking for the long term. Would they have a prospect here? So will you be able to identify a place for them to display their designs? So this is the TDC, and yet it is not doing its job. So on what basis or on what criteria are they hiring or letting their venue? Well, of course, the TDC will have more information about this, and they will be able to provide you with further details. But then in terms of our support for young designers in Hong Kong, in order to ensure that they'll have a place to showcase their designs and also help them reach out to overseas buyers and so on, every year we will have the Fashion Design Week, and then there are individual exhibitions and runway shows, and opportunities will be offered to young and budding designers to join. And of course the number is not that large because it's a question of supply and demand. But then how can these opportunities be expanded so that more young designers can join? Well, that's something that the administration will have to consider, and indeed the administration is looking into ways of doing this. All right, for the TDC, all right, it has to operate on commercial principles. Either the administration interferes with its operation or provides additional injection. So if you have to wait until July next year, then they will just have to go into another sector or get another job. So the design or their creativities will go down the drain, because either you are able to produce or translate your design into a product, but then what happens to our young people is that well, they have the ideas, but then the TDC is not willing to give them the opportunities. So can you provide us with the information about the design week in January and July? So can you give us more details? So Madam Chair, can you ask them for the figures for the Fashion Design Week in January and July? All right, can you provide us with the information? Thank you. Mr. Raymond Wong has not come back. That's why we are not able to allow him to ask questions. All right, next item, AOB. Any AOB? If not, then meeting is adjourned. Thank you.